building an audience on YouTube kind of sucks, actually. It's horrible. It's one of the hardest things that you will ever do in your life. You know, sometimes it feels a lot like you're pushing a boulder up a hill, you know, and you're just like bleeding sweat. You're working your tail off, coming up with the best content that you can provide for this audience. And then it's showtime. You're either going to go live on YouTube or upload a pre-recorded video, and you're super excited, and you hit that publish button just to address an audience entirely comprised of crickets. Look, if you've ever had that feeling before and you know that building an audience is really tough, then I'm glad that you've joined us today. Because on today's show, I'm going to be sharing with you how I've managed to build a pretty reliable audience on YouTube, not just for my channel, but for my client channels as well. And we're going to review some of the 5 biggest tips that you could be following to help your audience grow on YouTube and get you to become that creator that you've always wanted to be. We have a great show today, everybody. Stick around. It's Stream Like You Mean It. Hey, welcome back to Stream Like You Mean It with me, Owen Video, helping you create more effective, more engaging live stream shows. We're live every single Monday at noon PST. That's 3 p.m. if you're on the East Coast, and you can give me an air 5 in the comments below. That's how we say hello. We're broadcasting today on multiple channels with Restream.io, the best live streaming studio that you're ever going to need. And we want to welcome our audience watching us today on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and all over the web. My question of the day that I would like for you to answer in the comment section below, because this is what we do. This is what we do. We sort of like get conversation going, and we talk to each other here. That's why I go live every week, by the way. Is so I would get to know each other, right? And really just like have a conversation going. So I'd love to hear from you in the comment section. What does audience mean to you? Right? What does that word audience even mean? Because you could have an audience of 1, right? But I think that we all want like an audience of like 10,000. And then you've got like these varying levels of audience. In fact, my good friend Salma Jaffrey posted on Twitter today that if Mr. Beast, who's the biggest YouTuber on YouTube right now, if Mr. Beast were to shout her out, she'd get hundreds of thousands of followers on her YouTube channel. That's a huge audience, right? But not one of them would tune in to watch a single video, because that audience is a Mr. Beast audience. It's not a Salma Jaffrey audience. And I thought that was a very astute point. So air 5 to you, Salma. Always coming up with great content. Audience has to do with specificity, right? I know Paul Duke is probably watching today, and if he's not, he'll be here shortly. He's always with us. He's part of our audience and a member of the audience that we always like to rely on. Look, now Paul is building a live stream show. It's a great audience for this show. Now, if someone were to be more interested in, let's say, Google AdWords, that would not be like a good fit for this show, right? So audience also has to do, you know, with specificity a little bit. And I'd love to hear from you. What does audience mean to you? Tell me about it in the comment section below. We're going to have a conversation about that today. And while you're doing that, we want to give a big shout out to our sponsors over at Restream, the best and the only live streaming studio that you'll ever need. With Restream.io, you can broadcast your message on multiple social media platforms at the same time. And with the new Restream Studio, you can go live with custom branded graphics, a chat room that pulls all your conversations into one place, and many more features. So get started today on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and more. Just visit owenvideo.com/Restream to get your free trial today. That's right, guys. Go to owenvideo.com/Restream. Do it right now. owenvideo.com/Restream and get your free trial. And you can do all sorts of great stuff using the Restream Studio, including having your comments pop up on screen, just like they're about to pop up on screen right now. So we want to welcome all of you guys who are logging in today. We got Dandy Soap DIY who is saying, is this event still happening? My friend, it is happening right now. So I'm super glad that you're here with us today. Off the Jack says, I'm here from Las Vegas. Flop. Super glad that you're here. Brandon Judd is saying, where'd it go? Brandon Judd is saying, shout outs never seem to work for me. Viral videos have been the best way to grow a following. You know, I would put shout outs in sort of that collaboration, you know, environment. And I think that they work phenomenally well when you work with a brand or a product, not always so well when you're just trying to build your channel. I shouldn't say just trying to build your channel, but you know, when you're building, it's a different sort of approach. Rigor is saying, I made it here before the countdown timer expired. Guys, I hate using the countdown timer. I really, really do, because, you know, it's kind of like someone saying, come over to my house. And then when you get there, they're not there. And they're like, just hang on for 30 more seconds. You know what I mean? Oh, I really don't like the countdown. But here's the thing. When you go live, you know, it takes 30 seconds to hit YouTube, and then 5 seconds to hit Facebook, and then 7 seconds to hit LinkedIn. And so the countdown timer really does kind of bring everything together. So we're glad to have you here. Man, we got so many people today. So good to see you guys. Penrod Media is logging in. Viper Z is logging in. We got Lily Tree, of course, logging in for Lily Tree's been logging in for years to my shows. And it's so great to have you here. James X is saying pre-recorded. Nope, this is all. We do have pre-recorded advertising segments, but everything else on the show is live. And so we're glad to have you here. Hey, Harley Pebble is here. Good to see you, Harley. Harley, we don't talk much, but you are tribe. You are crew, because you are in the grind of YouTube, making things happen. Mickey SE is out there. He says, does this work for Twitch? Yes, it absolutely does work for Twitch. And so we're talking about Restream Studio. With Restream Studio, you can broadcast on 257 different live streaming platforms, which is basically all of them. Now, I want to give a shout out to my man, Tom Nash, who is saying, oh, and I was following you since you had 100 subs. I was better at 100 subs than I am today. I think I've gotten lazy. I'm one of these sort of like live streaming elitists now, where I kind of drink my coffee with my pinky up, and I'm just like, you know what I mean? But, you know, you're in the beginning, you're ambitious. In the beginning, you're like, oh, I want to do this, want to do this. And as you keep going, you kind of realize, hey, we don't need to do all of those things, and we can still have a pretty amazing show. Amanda Walsh is logging in. Good to see you. And of course, my good buddy Scott Ayers, who's typing 5 in the comment section below. Guys, by the way, when you type 5 or a hand emoji down here, you are giving us 5, and that is our tribe. That is how we say hello on this show. So I want to encourage you guys, when you hear something that you like, or you see something that you like, give us a 5. Just type 5, and that's kind of like giving us a high five in the comment section below. So Lead with Jim is saying, audience are those that follow you and draw on your knowledge. Really, really strong. This is a good one too. Harley is saying, audience is people I want to reach. I really like that. Because I think everyone's going to have sort of a different, answer for this. But I really like that the audience is sort of this, albeit nebulous, it's the people that you're trying to reach. Now, this is probably the most common one that I hear. Audience is potential buyers. You know, I would actually say, okay, now I don't know who's saying this, because it only says Facebook user, but thank you for being here. It's good to have you here. I am not saying this to say that you're wrong, because you are right, but it's conflating or confusing your potential buyers with your audience. Probably the biggest mistake that content creators and YouTube creators are making. I know it was for me. You know, in the very beginning, all I wanted to do was go after customers. I need customers. I need customers. I need customers, right? This is my attitude. Because I grew up poor. And so I've always been sort of motivated by this. Don't be poor anymore, you jerk. You know, go make some money. What I've learned is this, that your customers are part of your audience, but your your audience is not just your customers. There are people that are going to watch you week after week after week after week that will never buy from you. And it's okay. It's okay to think about that. Okay, Zepeda is saying the loyal people that keep coming back and consume my content. These are really good answers. Audience means people who want and need the help I have to share. All really good stuff. I want to give everybody a shout out here. It's kind of audience are my clients. They're responsible for me being successful or not. Great thoughts here. Again, your audience, though, is really bigger than your customers. Your customers are the bullseye of the audience. Okay? Your customers are, in fact, the bullseye of the audience. And that is, I think, something to really consider, because there are people in your audience that will never buy from you, period. But that's okay, because every time you log in and go live, they watch you, they share you, they comment you, they get you into other people's news feeds. Those other people see you, and those people buy from you. It's like this passive referral thing. And so and Sean Porter, I love what you're saying here. By the way, guys, we have 70 live viewers right now, which is a record for this show. And that's really cool. So I want to welcome all 70 of you. Let's see if we can't get it to 100 today. You know, let's really bring some audience in. What I really want you guys to be thinking about, and Robert Chappell, I love that your last name is Chappell and you're a pastor, is my online congregation. I think that's true for all of us, right? It's your audience are the people watching you or that could potentially watch you. Now, I want to be careful, because you guys hear me saying things like, your audience is more than just your customers. And I stand by that 100%. But I get those of you that are like, yeah, but only my customers enable me to do this, right? Like, if it weren't for customers, I wouldn't have the money, the revenue, the justification for continuing to do this. And I want to break that mentality down today by covering, you know, the 5 big points. And it might be 5 plus or 2 bonus points or whatever. But I want to cover some of the sort of the basics to your audience and how you're going to grow that audience, you know, over time. Okay. So let's start by talking about how to actually, I want to dig into something. I'm going to go off the chart a little bit here. I want to talk about audience versus customers. Okay, so let's see if we can't put this up on screen sort of the right way. And I really don't like this. I want to switch it around. Okay, so I'm going to jump ahead here to step 4. I hope that this is okay in like YouTube land. I'm going to find out that the video dies right here because I should have started with step 1. But let me just dive into step 4, right? Which is audience versus customers. Okay, so here's the big mistake, is that you're going after only the people that are going to buy from you right now. And this severely limits your potential audience. Okay. I want you to think of your audience more like prospective buyers or potential buyers. And maybe some of you were already thinking this anyway. Okay. But I want to move you away from, I need to get a customer today. Right? Even though you do, I know you need to. I need to as well. In fact, I spent my morning doing my prospecting for my customers. And so and for those of you that are YouTube creators entirely, and your customer is really someone who is watching a YouTube ad, okay, the same thing applies. In fact, where I see YouTubers failing is you don't treat your channel like a real business. You treat your channel like it's different. And you treat yourself like you're Peter McKinnon. Now, I'm not trying to insult you, but I am trying to get you to step into reality here, okay? Peter McKinnon has been making professional videos for 10 years before he ever made a YouTube video. I know I've traveled the world with Peter McKinnon. I have introduced him on stage. I have interviewed him on stage. I have been air skydiving with Peter McKinnon. I have been through an obstacle course with Peter McKinnon. So I've had a chance to hear a little bit of his story. This guy was making, and here's what we do. We go, well, I'm a content creator like Peter McKinnon. So I just need to be making good videos, right? It's not, that's part of the story. Okay. But you have got to be looking at ways to generate more audience, because more audience will watch more AdSense. Okay. So as you're building up your audience, you want to be building up a loyal group of followers who are listening in to what you have to say. I can't even tell you guys how many referrals in business I've got from someone who's never hired me, but refers me all the time. And there's lots of reasons for it. Maybe they can't afford my service, because I cost a pretty penny. I'll be honest. I'm just gonna put that out there, right? But also because YouTube maybe they're just like, I'm into Instagram, right? Oh, and I love what you do on YouTube. Not for me, but my friend, right? So let's kind of dig in a little bit more to audience versus customers. I want to go full screen on this one because I think that this is important. Okay, I want you to imagine your. Let me see if I can actually do this. That's good. I want you to imagine your audience like a dartboard. And this is more of an archery target. Okay. But it's a dartboard. And you've got like the black zone, the blue zone, the red zone, and the yellow zone. Okay. Now, these could mean any number of things, but let's just kind of go hypothetically on this one. All right. Let's just say that the black zone is like people that never heard of you before. The blue zone are people that are shopping for someone like you right now. The red zone are people with like burning questions, right? Like they're hot. They're really close to hiring someone. And then the yellow is a buyer. Okay. So let's just kind of pretend that those are the varying levels. Here's what I see you guys doing. I see you guys really, let's see if can I draw on this? Does that work? I'm like learning how my own computer works here. I want to see. Can you guys see that? Yeah. I see so many of you guys shooting for the yellow. And it's like, if it's not in the yellow, then you're not interested. But really what you need to be doing is getting on the dartboard. You need to just get on the board. Okay. How do you do that? That's going to be the rest of what we're going to cover today. Because what happens is you guys are getting online and you've got this really convoluted message. And the reason it's convoluted is because you're trying to reach these yellow dotters. And really what you need to be doing is trying to reach the whole of the audience, keeping in mind that the yellow area is in fact your customers. Okay. So what I want to do then is I want to talk about, like, now that we know the difference between audience and customers. Okay. Audience is someone that can get value from you, period. And they like being a part of your community, and they like showing up, and they like, the way that you deliver. That's so key, is the way that you deliver. I'm going to give a shout out to someone that I really love right now. I want to give a shout out to Kevin Colby. Do you guys know Kevin Colby? Right? Give an air 5 flop in the comment section if you know Kevin Colby. Here's what I love about Kevin Colby is I love the way he delivers his content. Period. He's just so happy and he's fun. And I like seeing it. I like tuning in and seeing that kind of thing. Now, what I don't like this purple background. So I'm gonna change the purple background. Maybe this one's a little bit cooler. Okay, I like that. I'll go with this one, this purple and black and pink one. So it's very important that your audience like how you deliver your content as well. Okay, but really having a systematic way for delivering the content, that is what's going to set you apart. And that is what I want to get into as part of the bulk, of our conversation today. And so as we dig into, really the meat of this whole thing, I want to start with tip number 1. Let me see if I can arrange these a little bit better. Okay, so tip number 1 is a show schedule. Okay, you have got to have a regular show schedule. And let me tell you why this is so important, because Building an audience has everything to do with who's online when. All right. So let's go back to TV, because believe it or not, everything that happens on YouTube today is based on Hollywood and television. Even take a look at like the hottest stuff on Netflix right now is what? Cobra Kai, right? Where did Cobra Kai start? As Karate Kid, a Hollywood movie. And then it went to YouTube, and then Netflix bought it. Okay. This is just like a wonderful, I think, transition into this new media, because show scheduling is everything. Think about daytime TV. Go ahead and tell me in the comment section, what does daytime TV mean to you? There's two big words that come to mind. Okay. Soap opera. Soap opera comes to mind, daytime TV, but also talk shows like Regis and Kathy Lee. As what I grew up on. I'm sure it's something completely different now, you know, but I remember being in high school going to the Lisa Gibbons show. I grew up in LA, so we were always going to Hollywood and doing stuff like this, but we'd go to the Lisa Gibbons show and never went to Regis, but you know, these different daytime TV shows. Why is it called that? Because the audience at that time mostly work at home, stay at home moms. And I hate the term stay at home, because I don't know a single mom who just sits around all day. I know moms that are furiously raising their kids and really, you know, being an asset to their household. And so I hate the term stay at home mom, because the stay at home moms that I know are some of the hardest workers out there. Big shout out to all of you moms who are working jobs and raising kids. I love it. But look, at the end of the day, okay, daytime TV is based on an audience largely of women who are at home and not working. That's the audience. Okay, now let's move over to the evening. What's the evening called? Primetime. Why is it called primetime? Because of the audience that's there. It's 8 o'clock at night, which means both parents, if they're in the home, both parents are at home. Now, there's obviously exceptions to this, right? And it's usually like the mid-20 something is not at home during prime time. You're, you know, that mid-20s, I mean, you're out working. You're working a nighttime job, the night shift or whatever. But largely, the 9 to 5 American is at home. Families have already eaten dinner. And so you've got this family audience already built into that time slot. So when we were growing up, you know, the 90s and early 2000s, what shows were being broadcast at that time? Family shows. When did the adult shows start coming on? 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock. I remember this because when I was a kid, Cheers would come on. You guys ever watch Cheers? Probably one of the best shows in television history. I just love classic TV. Cheers came on at 9 o'clock, Channel 4 NBC in LA when I was a kid. And 9 o'clock was bedtime. That was not a show for kids, right? When I was growing up. Maybe some of you guys did watch it. Okay. But 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, LA, Law and Order starts to come on, LA Law, all the cop shows come on, right? Because what happens? The kids go to bed, the parents stay up and continue to watch more mature programming. Okay. So having a show that is broadcast at the same day and time each week enables you to build an audience of the people who are online at that time. Now, I get this question a lot. People go, well, Owen, what is the best time of day for me to go live? And I think that that's a very valid question. The reality is this, is that there are 1 billion people on Facebook and YouTube all day during any given time. Now, there is probably a sweet spot for you and your content, but without practice and just doing it, you're never going to know what that time is. Now, I'll tell you this, on YouTube will give you those numbers. After you upload for a certain amount of time, you go to your analytics, YouTube will tell you, hey, this is the best time for your audience. But that doesn't mean you're going to get the most views at that time, because you might have content so deep that your audience goes, I'm going to take a look at that. Like, I'll watch this later, right? And so that's something I think that you need to think about. But there's 1 billion people on Facebook and in YouTube at any given time, okay? Which means that as long as you go live at some time throughout the day, and it's not 2 a.m, but like during businessy hours, you're going to have potential for an audience. Now, what does that audience need to look like? 15 people live at one time. Okay? 15 people live at one time. That's where you want to be. Now, after you hit that milestone, because some of you out there are going like, oh, and I get 100 people on, or oh, you got 72 people on right now. You know, by the way, shout out to all 72. Let's put you guys up on screen so you guys could be a part of the show. Look, if you got 72, our next goal is 100. So Lead with Jim is saying, I hit 15 last week. Jim is a client, by the way. I'm teaching Jim the steps of this process. And so he hit 15 last week, 15 concurrent viewers, which means our next goal is going to be 30. So you want to have these audience goals of hitting like 10 and then 15 and then 30 and then 50 and then 70 and then 100. Okay. So what happens when you get 47? It's like, wow, you came really close to 50, but you don't round up, right? Rounding up is not a participation trophy. You give yourself the 50 trophy when you hit 50, not 48, not 49. Okay. Now, here's the thing. I also don't count Gadget Gecko. Good to see you. LCPM Network. Good to see you. Wolf Lupis is saying, yeah, you guys, you could ask any question you want. I will take a break in between each point and answer your questions. Atomic Darts logging in is asking a great question. Atomic Darts is saying, let me see if I could find the question. Let's put it up. It's a great question for right now. Would you expect different numbers based on the platform you're on? Yes, I would, but I wouldn't change the milestones either. Okay, so what I mean by that is it's going to be harder to get 15 viewers on YouTube. It's going to be easier to get 15 viewers on Facebook. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't aim for 15 viewers on YouTube. It just means it's going to take more work to get there. And you might be in a place where you got 30 people watching you on Facebook, but only 7 on YouTube. And so you've got to be in a place where you can check off your Facebook goal and say, hey, I'm hitting my Facebook goal, right? But I'm not hitting my YouTube goal. And what that does is it liberates you now to work on your YouTube approach and get more attraction on YouTube. Want to say what's up to Rob Balasabas, my man, with the master plan, logging in on LinkedIn. Says, I love the comments popping up here. So good to have you here. Okay, so I want you guys, here's what I want to do. I want to go through this calendar section and how to create a show. Sticky Flames, thanks for logging in. And then we'll go into your questions because we do have some good questions coming up here today. Okay, so let's just say that this is your calendar, okay, for January. All right, and you've got to be in a place now where you're planning out a show. Now, what time do you go live? There are 2 times. There are 2 best times for you to go live. Number 1 is when your audience is online. Okay? That's almost any time of day, 8 p.m. to 5 p.m. Almost. Some of you are going to have nuances, but it's really any time of day. So what's the second best time to go live? Whenever you can. Whenever you can fit it into your schedule. Okay? So what I want to see you doing is you're going to pick a day to go live. Let's just say it's Monday at noon. Okay, that's when our show goes live. Monday at noon. And so what we're going to do is we're going to book out the whole month. And we're going to say, every Monday at noon, we go live. And what that does, just like primetime, just like daytime TV, there's a billion people in our audience, right? Who's entrepreneurs and YouTube creators is our audience. There's a billion of you guys online at any given time throughout the day. What we want is 75 of you watching at one time on Mondays. We've achieved that. So it doesn't matter if it's, Monday at noon, Monday at 3, or even Monday at 9 p.m. What matters is that you pick the same day and the same time every week, because as a viewer, my online social media habits are going to remain the same. So if I'm on the web, today, Monday, from 12 to 4 p.m., I will most likely be on the web next Monday at the same time, and next Monday at the same time, and next Monday at the same time, allowing for a few exceptions, sick days and whatnot. But by going live at the same time, same date, I'm developing a chance to build a relationship with my audience, the audience who is online at that day and that time. Do not do a thing where you're like, I'm going to go live, right? This is kind of like my thing. It's like, I'm going to go live like Monday at 3, and then I'm going to go live Wednesday at 5, because that's when I can go live. And it's all about me, right? The me monster. Google that, by the way. The me monster is huge, right? Because we don't do it on purpose. But we get into this thing where it's like, it's all about you and your schedule. It's not, okay? A live stream show is not something you sporadically put throughout the week. Same with YouTube uploads. You should be striving to upload at the same day and the same time every single week to build audience with who is there online already. And you should be pre-scheduling your events, okay, using the tools that are available to you so that your audience knows that they can expect you and they see that you're coming, and it proves that you're reliable, okay? So some really strong, I think some really powerful points there. Okay, let's go to the chat here. And we had some really good questions. Ross Quintana logging in, my man. It's good to see you. And by the way, if you know someone who would benefit from this show, tag them in the comment section, or maybe share this on their timeline. We would certainly love to welcome them to the show. Now, I want to go to some questions. And I want to give a big shout out to Christina Smallhorn, who is one of my favorite YouTube creators. Because I go live every Sunday at 3:30 p.m. and she has been for quite some time. And I think that's really cool. Sean Porter is saying that's where I'm at. I try to go live. What is that? Before 10 p.m. 10 p.m. is a really niche time zone, and some of my best streams have been at nighttime, but not every stream has gone well at nighttime. I find that for me and my audience largely parents, right? So when when I'm with my kids, they're with their kids. And so I try not to stream at those times. When I do a stream at that time, you know what happens is I tend to get a good size audience, because people are going, well, what's so important that Owen's choosing to go live now. Got Gray is tagging her friend Keith Hudson. We're really glad to see that. Thank you for tagging your friends and inviting them to the stream. Okay, so Wolf Lupez is asking, when Twitch asks you to become an affiliate, part of the terms of service states you aren't allowed to utilize multi-streaming services. How do we as streamers utilize such a service as Restream without being penalized by Twitch once they ask us to decide? Okay, so this has a question. It's more to do with being an affiliate, okay, than it does with actually being a live streamer, okay? And you kind of have to make your decision on where you want to go. And that decision is kind of multifaceted, okay? So let me just sort of give you some unpopular opinions, okay? First of all, it's up to you to decide if you're going to violate the terms of service. And I know you're not supposed to say that, right? But look, at the end of the day, you can say whatever you want to Twitch and then multi-stream. Now, am I telling you to do that? No. I am simply awareing you of the facts of your scenario, okay? So it's up to you to decide if you want to break the terms and to deal with the consequences therein. So I can tell you how I deal with this on YouTube is I will not monetize videos that violate the terms of service. And by doing so, I am not in violation of the terms of service. So for you on Twitch, you may want to decide which videos you multi-stream and which videos you do not. You may also want to decide if being a Restream affiliate is freaking worth it. My gut says no. Any platform. Let's take Parler, for example. How many of you guys are on Parler? You know, I experiment with all social media platforms. And so I don't want to turn this into a Parler, political this or that. It is what it is. And it's wise to explore everything, I think. But Parler, or not Parler, Rumble. So Rumble's like a competitor to YouTube. And Rumble has this thing where like you can upload your videos to Rumble only and make like 10%. Or you can upload your videos to Rumble and anywhere else and you make like 3%. To me, the no-brainer is the 3%. Right? Because of traffic alone. Traffic alone on YouTube is going to be way more valuable to you. That 3% is going to add up really quickly. Okay? So, Wolf, my thing for you is decide where your angle is going to come from. Is it really coming from Twitch affiliate? Is it? Or does it come from you multi-streaming and getting a lot of eyeballs on your comments, on your content? That's probably where I think it is, you know, at the end of the day. I want to say what's up to Heather Michelle, who is engaging in the comment section and always doing so well. Okay, here's another great question. Is Dandy Soap DIY. By the way, Dandy Soap, it is great to see you every single week. And I like Gadget Gecko likes what I had to say about awareing you of the facts of your situation. You know, sometimes, you know, there's always someone who will remind you of the rules. Okay. And as like thought leaders, you know, we kind of like, we have to kind of tell you to follow the terms of service, but I hate that obligation. You have every right and every ability to violate the terms of service and to either get caught or not get caught. You know, for me, largely the value of getting caught is not worth it. So I just try to follow the terms of service wherever I can. There are exceptions to every rule, though. I'm not going to tell you what those are because it's different for everybody. But I do want you to sort of understand the situation that you're in and how much control really you do have. Okay, Dandy Soap is saying, why do my lives get more views than my videos? Great question. Watch time. Watch time. You guys, look, my average watch time on this video is going to be 10 to 20 minutes. My average watch time on a YouTube video, like a pre-recorded 7-minute uploaded YouTube video, it's like 3 minutes. So YouTube knows that even though my lives don't like perform as well, they don't bring as many subscribers, they don't make as much AdSense revenue, YouTube knows that you will watch longer if it's a live stream. And part of that has to do with the comments and just kind of the general way, right, that we do live streams. Oh, I'm kind of playing with, there we go. Cool. Look at that. So that's why your live streams do better than regular content. Okay. So may I ask a question about views and which, okay, I think you already asked that question. And I think that is good. So let's move on to the next point here. Sean S. Porter is saying, thanks, I'm cleaning the house and teaching class. That's awesome. Oh, we do have Alex McDonald is asking, what widget is that in the chat? I am using the Restream chat widget, which is built into the Restream software, and you can get a free trial at owenvideo.com/Restream, the best live stream studio you will ever need. I love this software so much, in fact, that I left my last company to work with this company because I feel like it's a phenomenal product. Okay, Darnell is asking, does Restream work with an HP computer? I was told it didn't. Yes, I am using it right now. I am on a, I'm actually, no, it's not an HP, but I am on a PC and I am running Windows and it kills me. A part of me died when I switched to Windows because I didn't need to switch to Windows. I switched to Windows for live streaming. And the reason for that is because if you guys, I don't know if you can notice my camera quality. My camera quality has dramatically improved since the last 3 weeks. I got a new camera, new cords, new cables, and the Mac wasn't fast enough to sort of handle it all. And the PC is just works so much better. So yes, Restream does work from a PC and it does work from a Mac. So, I can actually set it up on a Mac and then come and, execute from a PC and it works perfectly. Harley Pebbly is saying you could technically violate the terms of service, but doing so knowingly. What does that say about your personal integrity? I think that goes back to, personal decisions, for everybody. I personally feel, Harley, that some of the terms of service, like some terms of services violate our personal liberty and actually violate our rights. And so they must be trampled. They must be violated. Now, that is not something that I believe in all cases across the board. I believe in fairness and giving, look, you can't just leverage YouTube, steal from YouTube. You've got to play the game a little bit. There are some things that I think maybe are a little bit abusive on behalf of the corporations, and we need to push back on those things. And usually those things are addressed in future terms of services and things like this. But I think you bring up a great point, and I try to balance what we follow and what we don't follow. Largely, I follow terms of services because I have a business and I don't want my business to be threatened. And Rob Valls is saying there's no reason to become a Twitch affiliate. I kind of feel the same way. I don't know too much about it. But that's something to think about. James X is commenting on our bit rate. So are you guys seeing choppy video footage? I look crystal clear in my thing here. So I'd love to know if you guys are crystal clear. Okay, last question, then we'll move on. Now, last question of this segment. You guys can feel free to continue to ask questions. I am here for you guys today. So ask me anything that you want to ask, and I will bring it into the conversation. So Darnell is asking, what's the difference between StreamYard or Restream as far as quality is concerned? I think it's a great question. And, I don't ever want to be in a place where I'm, down talking the competitor. Okay. But I do want to let you know, and I want to strongly emphasize that I chose Restream over StreamYard, despite the fact that many of my YouTuber friends are using StreamYard. All that means is that they're both decent services. Why do I use Restream instead of StreamYard? Well, number one, first and foremost, is the company. The people behind Restream are the highest quality people. Now, it's not to say StreamYard is a bunch of dirtbags. I'm not saying that at all. I don't know anyone from StreamYard. They haven't reached out to me. Whereas as Restream reached out to me, they gave me product demos. They introduced the product to my customers, and they made me feel like a part of the family. And when you get your free trial of Restream at owenvideo.com/Restream, they're going to make you feel like a part of the family. Because what we're doing here with Restream is not just about, a monthly membership. It's about really changing the world for the better, and your message being the vehicle to do that. And so Restream gives you all of the tools that StreamYard gives you, plus more tools that make your streams reach more people. For example, on StreamYard, you can broadcast, I think, on 2, maybe 3 platforms at the same time. On Restream, you can broadcast on 15, 20, 25 platforms at the same time. Facebook groups, Facebook pages, Facebook profiles, YouTube channels. There's so much you can do. Plus, you've got the built-in graphics. You've got the built-in comment stream. I've got the ability to add my own graphics and to do some of these fun, little overlays and things. And I could even be advertising products and sort of stuff like this. They give you really just a wide variety, a wide berth of stuff to choose from. And I really like that at the end of the day. So, we like to use Restream. We love the people. We love the software. We love the advanced features and the advanced factors of it all. So something that I would think about as you decide which software you're going to invest in. Okay, let's move on here. And let's talk about, step 2. Step 2 is something nobody ever considers. and is like the key part of building an audience. So step 2 in building an audience on YouTube is having a custom intro that is standard on every show, and it is the same for each show of the week. Okay. So what is your introduction? Your introduction is like the name of the show, the value statement of the show, what you want the person to do right now. Do you guys know what I ask you to do in the beginning of each show? See if you guys remember, put it in the comment section. Okay. I put in a question of the day and then I add a sponsor segment. But all of these things right here take about 30 seconds for me to get through. 30 seconds, that's it. Okay. But it's the same every single show. So let's take a look at why that's so valuable. Okay. It's valuable because it gets into the mind of your viewers what your show is all about. That's the key right there. And when you say the name of the show plus the value statement, then you're letting your audience know. Ed Weinberg got it right, by the way. You're exactly right. That is the call to action that we shoot for in every single opening of the show. Yes, you want to be in a place where your audience listens to your intro and they go, this show is for me. That's it. That's the whole kit. That's the whole ball of wax, folks. You want your audience to tune in for 10 damn seconds. You like how I lower my voice because I'm a parent? I'm like, 10 damn seconds. I don't swear that much. First time I ever said a swear word, I was a junior in high school, and I didn't get cast for the play. Can you believe that? That's the first time I ever said the F word. Junior year, didn't get cast for the play, and I did. As I walked into school and I screamed it. Anyway, I've never been good at cussing, but here's the thing. Your audience may not watch for a long time. They see you come up in the news feed and they go, what's this show all about? So they watch for a second, and you, in that time, you say, hey, welcome to Ross Quintana show where we help real estate agents generate leads every single day. And you're all of a sudden, your real estate agent client is going like, what? That's exactly what I'm looking for. You see where I'm going? You see how that works? So you want to have a standard intro that identifies your audience every single week and lets them know the value that you're bringing to the table. Now, in addition to that, you want to include some like engagement factors, like give me a high five or give me a question of the day to keep the momentum going. Because what I see a lot of you guys doing is you're like, hey, everybody, welcome to the show. We do this, that, the other thing, and we'll get started. We'll get started in just a minute. And you kind of like fall off that cliff. You know what I mean? Like, where was I going? So I like to end in a sponsor segment. It's a pre-recorded sponsor segment. Okay. Let me just play that for you. I won't play the whole thing, but let me just kind of play it for you. So I go, well, you know what? Let's just kind of do the whole thing. I'll show you guys my whole sponsor segment. Okay. So let's go. Can we bring it back here? So this is my standard intro. So I say, welcome back to Stream Like You Mean It with Owen Video, helping you create more engaging, more effective live stream shows. Give me an air 5 in the comment section below. That's how we say hello. And we're broadcasting today on multiple channels with Restream.io, the best live streaming studio that you will ever need. And we want to welcome our audience today on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Periscope. My question for you today is, what does, and I have this whole thing, like, what does audience, mean to you? What does audience, and I'll talk about this for a second. Like, what does audience really mean to you? And, what is that all about? Like, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And while you're doing that, we want to give a big shout out to our sponsors over at Restream.io, the only software you'll ever need for live streaming your message. With Restream.io, you can... Okay, I won't play the whole thing, but you get sort of how I'm like going through my slides. It's the same intro, and every week I say the same thing. So all I really do is I change my question of the day. But I get to end in this ad with Restream.io, which does what? Like when that ad is playing, I'm back here taking a break, breathing, right? Getting ready for the next segment, which is when I'm going to answer, kind of just chat with you guys for a minute, right? And so I'm able to go into my notes and sort of like, get ready for that next, that next section. Okay. So having these, having this standard intro for your show is absolutely pivotal. There's no ifs, ands, or behinds about it. You need to have a standard intro for your show. And I recommend that you write something like this, right? Where you say, welcome back to name of show, with me, the host, what your name is, and what the value statement of the show is, right? Helping you create more effective live stream shows. Then we go for call to action. Give me an Air 5 in the comment section below. Now, you can do Air 5 if you want. Like it's, again, like it's flattery for me. But you could also do your own thing, right? You could say, hey, drop me an emoji in the comment section below to share with me how you're feeling today. And then again, you may not have a sponsor. A couple of you guys were asking about sponsors. You should all have a sponsor for your show. And even if you don't have a paying sponsor, you should have like an affiliate sponsor, right? Like all of you could be selling, for example, you could be a Restream affiliate and say, hey, the show today is brought to you by Restream. Go get your free trial of Restream. And for anyone that signs up, you make money, right? It's not a sponsor, but it's a brought to you by, and it counts the same way. So a good friend of mine, Ray Lane, who's Ray the Video Guy Lane, he taught me this 10 years ago, and he was doing these shows that were like brought to you by MailChimp, right? And MailChimp wasn't paying him, but he had an affiliate to MailChimp, right? And so he was able to make money on the show doing that. This is where I think YouTubers really kind of like mess up is that a lot of YouTubers have been taught bad habits by other more famous YouTubers. And I'm not trying to knock those guys. I'm just saying, like, it's unfortunate because you could be making money on your videos now, but you have to let go of the I'm like Peter McKinnon, because you're not. If you were Peter McKinnon, you have 5 million subs right now, but you don't, right? Because you're not like Peter McKinnon. And I'm not saying that to crush you. I'm saying that to like expose you to the reality of your situation. If you're struggling to get 1,000 subs, 5,000 subs, you're not in a Peter McKinnon scenario. That guy's a genius. He's a prodigy. He had like 1 million subs in like, what, a year? Okay. So you've got to do things differently than him. And the way to do that is to treat your business like a channel, treat your channel like a business. Treat it like NBC, not Jim Jones fishing channel, right? And you do that by getting creative. Okay, so maybe I'm going too far there. I'm so passionate about that because I see so many broke YouTubers, and you don't have to be broke, okay? You don't have to do it my way either, right? I kind of went the money over subscribers route, and that worked out well for me. It still continues to do well. I'm a very disciplined person, okay? But I do wish I had 100,000 subs. I do wish I had 500,000 subs like Nick or Roberto. I went a different path, and I went the path where I never really struggled for money at the same time. Okay, so it's a give and take. Now, standard introductions. Okay, I think that we covered that. Let's go to some questions, and then I've got one more point, and we'll wrap it up for the day. Let's see. We've got this great question coming in from Alpha Cybersecurity. It says, are you using slides or separate screens for those graphics? So here's what I'm doing. I have a PowerPoint slide. The PowerPoint is on this computer, but it's connected to this one. And believe it or not, I actually have 2 other screens. So I have a total of 4 screens connected right now. But the PowerPoint is connected to this screen. And then using Restream, I'm sharing this screen. So you'll notice how it's the full screen graphic there. But when I bring it up, only the middle part sort of displays. Well, we do that. That's all premeditated and pre-thought out, and we're dialing it in every single day. Every week we're learning new and different ways to do that. Okay. This is my favorite question, James. I appreciate you asking it. And I did answer this, but just to kind of reinvigorate it, since I have no sponsors, can I do an affiliate product in that spot? Yes, yes, yes. And every YouTuber should be doing that. Fine. Okay, Jim is like, I'm looking for a sponsor. Jim, you already have one. Just pick it. Go to Amazon, pick out a product, grab the affiliate link, and that is now your sponsor. Hey, this show is brought to you by the, Canon M60 camera, right? Or this show is brought to you by this microphone. And you post the link and you make, $7 every time somebody buys it. You don't need I'll sponsor your show. You need an affiliate link. Okay. Now, by the way, now that you have this, hey, this show is brought to you by, it sounds like a sponsor. And so now as you're like pitching other sponsors, you can show them your show and say, hey, look, I've already got a sponsor, And so your show sounds more credible. Does that make sense? Okay. Did we answer this question? Okay. James again is saying, I don't have a sponsor segment because I'm just starting. Fair enough. When in my growth should I look for sponsors? Now. My mentor is Daryl Eves. And I had a guy tell me, well, everyone's mentor is Daryl Eves. No, that's not true. Most people pay for Daryl Eves, right? For those of you guys that don't know Daryl, he's a very close personal friend. I've traveled the world with Daryl, and Daryl has been there at some of the darkest times in my life. When my closest friend committed suicide 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, Daryl was there with me in Belfast, Ireland, and he sat up with me and talked with me about it. So Daryl and I are very, very close, beyond I'm in his program. Daryl just created a series, like 6 months ago, where he had sponsors before a single video had been released. Guys, sponsors like the easiest thing you could do. I would say spend more time on sponsors than video content. Brian G. Johnson would kill me because they're all such talented creators. They focus all the attention on the creation too. I agree with them. Don't get me wrong. That's why I bought new cameras. But at the same time, like 50% of your energy on video, 50% on finding sponsors will change your life. Even a small sponsor at $100, $200 a month. That's $2,400 a year, dog. So something to think about. Okay, great question from Alpha. Does the Stream Deck work with Restream? Yes. All of my tools. I don't have Stream Deck, but I do have X Keys. It's the same thing, only better. Although I do admit that I wish I had a Stream Deck for the digital interface. We got the X Keys instead because it was on a special. But all of my tools, including vMix, work with Restream. So I can do a ton on Restream with all of my tools. I am not limited to the Restream Studio. The Restream Studio is ample for anyone who doesn't have all the tools I have. But you can use all those tools. I love this, Harley. I'm really just pumped that you're on the show today. And I think you bring a lot to the conversation. Harley is saying there's only one Peter McKinnon, but there's also only one you. And as trite as that sounds, as like a bumper sticker as that might be, he's absolutely right. Like, I bring up the Peter McKinnon thing because I think I hear it a lot. Well, I'm like Peter McKinnon. I'm more like Peter McKinnon, Owen. And it's like, no, you're not. Okay. Number one. Number two, don't be like someone else. Be you. Be you and be as you can be. Okay. Carlos, who is saying that I'll be implementing that on my show. Just an amazing, amazing comment. Appreciate you, Carlos. Jim, I am with you. Lots of great comments coming in. Okay, any more channels? Yeah. So Lily Tree is like, okay, so we've done steps 4, 1, and 2. All right, let's keep going. Yes. Okay, Atomic Darts is saying, where can I find that script? Is that something you offer? Yes. And I've got the same thing right here. How do you decide on a price for sponsor? Guys, I have a whole training on this. And Carlos, can you send them the link in the chat box? It's in the chat area. It's the brand deals offer. Carmen knows the link. I don't know the link to it, but I have a whole thing on how to get sponsors. And I think that we're going to have to do a whole show on sponsors. And then OPS Soldier is saying, wait, there are some things that you can use that benefit you that other streamers have used before, though, right? Yeah, absolutely. We should all be learning from each other. But what I want to make sure that we're sort of staying away from is the unreality of I'm like Peter McKinnon. You're not. No one's like Peter McKinnon. He's his own thing, and so are you. Okay, now you can be inspired by Peter McKinnon, and you should be, but also inspired by Penrod Media or by Jerry Babila or by Pam Gomez. Okay. And what you should be doing is pulling all these colors into your rainbow. I mean, at the end of the day, as opposed to saying like making this finite, I'm like Peter McKinnon, therefore I do things this way. That is a trap, because you'll find out that they know people you don't know. They didn't make mistakes that you made, vice versa. Everyone is falling like a snowflake. We all take a different route. And like, I was killing myself with this. I'm just like Sean Cannell, because I'm not like Sean Cannell. I love Sean Cannell. I do. He's a close personal friend of mine, but him and I are different in the way that we do things. And I am so inspired by Sean and Heather and Omar. And I convert that into what works for me, as opposed to just trying to be Sean. Okay. So that's kind of the point I wanted to make. Nicoplia is saying, is it good to stay with one game, or should I try to mix it up every time I stream? Okay. So you're a gamer. I love gamers. I watch a ton of gaming channels, mostly Fortnite. I watch Mr. Big Five, and the other names escape me. Right. I can see them in my head. I watch a lot of that stuff, but here's the thing I want to get you on. You should build a name off a game. Okay. Build your name off a game, and then also bring other games into the mix. Okay. Because you don't want to be like stuck in that game. Right. But you do want to build sort of like a big silo, like one strong power arm, right? Off the one game. And then you're kind of adding other games or other cheats or other things into your other arm to see how many arms that you can build. Okay. So here's the thing. Like you could make a name off of Star Wars. Okay. But you could also make a name off of the way you play the game. So you could kind of do a thing where you beat the game in 30 minutes. And so that's the game. It's like how I beat Star Wars in 30 minutes, how I beat Fortnite in 30 minutes, how I built this in Minecraft in 30 minutes. Right. And so that arm is not just one physical game now. It's actually the way that you play it. Okay. My point is, you got to have a thing that you do. You got to have a niche, right? If it's just you and your buddies kind of joking around on Fortnite, we got that. So you got to be as funny as Mr. Top 5. You got to be as calculating as Mr. Beast. And I feel like it's really hard to compete in that space. But if you have a thing that you do, I beat games in 30 minutes or something, then I think that you're in a really good place. Okay. All right. So we got to go, guys. Our time is up. So I want to get into these last couple of points. Okay. Because this last point I think is really, really strong. The next thing that you need to build an audience. Okay. So we talked about, your audience versus your customers. We talked about that your audience, you need to have a standard custom intro, right? Every single time. I want to talk about content silos. And I was just sort of talking about this. Okay. You want to create multiple live shows on the same content topic. This is, I think, what Nick Nimmin does really well. Every time he goes live, it's like how to get views and subscribers, how to get views and subscribers, how to get views and subscribers. Now he answers a bunch of questions in there and he goes on different, but at the end of the day, that it can go into that content category. That is where you need to be. That is absolutely where you need to be, is in a place where you're like, so for example, I really love these questions because I love gaming channels. Where you're saying, what about building a name off a genre like RPGs or FPS? Yes, I think it is too broad. I think you need to go one level deeper, where it's like, so you're going to do like RPGs, but you're going to do them in 30 minutes or less, or pranks or cheats, whatever the angle is. It's like RPGs and the angle. Okay. And that can change over time. I think, but this goes into content silos. You want to do, let's say, 5 to 10 videos in one content silo. And I want you to think about your content silos like the legs of a table, okay? So the legs of a table are such that, you know, the tabletop is held up by 4 legs. And just by looking at the tabletop, I can tell that it has 4 legs. Imagine a table that's missing a leg. You can see it immediately, right? You can see the table is either fallen over or it's wobbling a little bit. A table with 2 legs is on the ground. So, like your content, I should be able to watch one episode and predict what the next 4 or 5 episodes will be about. What I see a lot of you guys doing is every show is different. And when every show is different, you're not building audience. You are instead like keeping your audience away because they don't know what to expect from you. Is he going to talk about cameras today? Or is he going to talk about, you know, sales? Because I'm interested in cameras. I don't really care about sales. Or I'm interested in sales. I don't really care about cameras. I'm going to use a webcam. You know what I'm saying? So you got to find that balance. So for example, for me on my channel, we talk about live streaming. We talk about brand deals. We talk about how to grow on YouTube. And I think that we're also adding in like editing and like how, like not how to edit, but how to hire editors, like how to run YouTube like a business, you know? And you should be able to tell by just looking at my channel, like what the channel's all about. Okay. And a great example of that is my good friend, Christina Smallhorn. Okay. Let's just kind of look at her channel real fast. Here is a look at some of the recent videos on her channel. And I just sort of highlighted, okay, look at the ones in yellow. Notice the title. Real estate agent reacts. Real estate agent reacts. Real estate agent reacts. So she's got a content silo that's just all real estate agent reacts. That's one leg of her table. But she's got another leg too. And it's the red. And you can see that it's like tiny manufactured homes, right? 5 important facts of tiny manufactured homes. 5 reasons not to buy a tiny manufactured home. Okay. Tiny manufactured homes that you can buy on Amazon. Okay. So, you know, what she's done here is created a couple different, and she's got more in there. You can see them. You can go in there and see them. It's a couple different silos that she repeats over and over and over again. And the idea is that her channel, okay, is not about attracting a home buyer or a home seller. It's about attracting the audience. And that audience is what? It's people interested in real estate. People interested in real estate. Not just buyers and sellers. Because can you see, guys, how that works? When you make a channel that's only about buyers and sellers, your audience now, the only people you can reach is I want to buy a home today, tomorrow, or yesterday. That's it. That audience is minutia. And yet, this is real estate agents and financial investors do this all the time. You only make videos for your customers. Whereas Christina makes videos for people interested in real estate. And she nurtures them and she becomes like their go-to. And because it's the go-to, when they're ready to make a real estate decision, she's top of mind. Okay. Now, the last point we don't have time to go into today. You've heard me talk about it a lot, but the last step in building an audience is to have an ROS. And an ROS is a run of show. It's a systematic way of running your live show that eliminates the fluff and moves the show from beginning to end without losing any viewers. And we have an ROS template that you can download for free when you go to the link that's in the chat area right now. We've even included some templates and some scripting here. But, you know, the big point of the ROS is to just keep you on point so that every time you go live, you say the right things at the right time. Now, LCPM Network is asking, Owen, where is your channel? You can find me on YouTube at Owen Video. Just go to owenvideo.com/YouTube and subscribe to the channel there. We would love to have you as a part of the show. Penrod Media saying, how many videos or subs determine when you start going live? You can go live the moment you start a YouTube channel, okay? You can go live from mobile when you hit 1,000 subscribers. So going live on YouTube starts today. Facebook starts today. You should not wait to go live. In fact, you should be going live before you even have pre-recorded videos up, because live will get you an audience today. All right, guys. So there's links. Teacher Paul has made it. Paul, we were wondering what happened to you. Glad to have you here. Guys, remember, we are live every single Monday at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's 3 p.m. if you're on the East Coast. And we're always going to be talking about live streaming, YouTube growth. And I think we're going to talk about next week how to grow a channel, how to get sponsors and brand deals coming in for your live stream show. So I hope to see you in the next episode, guys. It's been a pleasure over streaming with you today. We went 12 minutes over our time today, but I had a great time doing it, and I always have a great time being with you. You are my peoples. It's always a pleasure to be with you, and I can't wait to see you in the next episode. I'm Owen Video. This is Stream Like You Mean It, and we'll see you next time.